All right, I'm gonna be really clear and straight in this video. And I've seen in the last few months that there's a lot of online coaches that are struggling really with getting clients. And I know that for a fact because I've been working with online coaches since 2019. And right now in the second part of 2025, this is getting more and more common. And this is because the market is not oversaturated, but it is starting to be saturated. So that's why you need to have a system that really works for you and gets clients for you in order for your life to be better and to have more clients paying you the amount of money that you really deserve. So for the purpose of this video, I'm gonna be getting into the system that really brings coaching clients every single week, no matter what. And I don't know why, but most people aren't using it. So I'm going to be covering the exact same system I use with my clients. And as I told you, I've been helping online coaches in 2019. It's 6 years up to date. And they were able to generate over $4.2 million just in the last 2 years. So I know that this will really help you. So the real problem right now is the following, right? So the real problem is that you right now, this is probably you post content every day, but the problem is that no one messages you. And also you don't know what really worked, so you are just guessing and you are not following a process. Right now, just think about it, and if you are in this exact situation, this video is going to be definitely for you. And this is why it's not repeatable, right? That's why that's not repeatable. So you need to have a system that's going to be scalable and really predictable in terms of your income. So don't worry, because that's your case. We're going to be addressing exactly this. So for this video, I'm going to be uncovering the funnel I use with my clients, what I call the silent funnel. And I'm going to be going step by step in the funnel. So the first step is that you need to use content that opens the door, as I like to say. So the only job of your content right now in the top of the funnel is to create a reason to really start a conversation. So that means that you need to be posting polls in stories that lead somewhere, dropping reels that people really react to, don't really watch. And in order to make this really not entertaining but really relatable content, you need to use the reverse engineering to know, okay, what's the things that's holding my potential customer or my ICP, my potential customer, back from achieving their goals. Okay, so if you know what's really holding your potential customer from achieving the goals, then you will use that information to create those reels, so that then you can put a CTA in those reels so that that potential customer can ultimately DM you, right? But this is like really simple. It doesn't happen right when you post, right? So you need to drop those reels, and you also need to use carousels with clear call to comment or really vote there. So if nobody replies to you, and this is really important, if nobody replies to you, nothing starts. So you need to be starting conversation. So the way I do it is I treat every post like a door opener. This is not a pitch. This is not, I help, for example, I help busy dads lose weight without craving food. No, that's not the case. I treat every little post I do as a post opener. So the last part, so the second part, and will be the last part of the top of the funnel, is starting the DMs. And this is really important. Right now in 2025, I see people, this is a funnel, right? Not really very well done funnel, but the funnel has the attract part and then the sales part. And this in the middle, we have the nurturing part. And people are really not paying attention to this part of nurturing, and this is the most important thing. So when you have someone going to your DMs, you need to start nurturing that person. So when someone interacts with you, I message them really fast, simple, and with human messages. Stuff like, for example, hey, I saw you click on yes, my poll, for example. So what are you working on right now? Or maybe, oh, yes, saw your reply. Chris, what's been stuck with you for that long? You don't really offer your process or your system or your method right off the bat. No, you're stuck for there. So the goal here is not to really pitch. The goal is to have a real conversation. Why? Because in 2025 now, in the second part of 2025, people aren't buying coaching. They aren't buying your coaching system or your coaching program. they are buying you as a coach. So that's why it's really important that you build that connection and that trust in order to qualify those. Which leads me to the third part, which is qualifying. And you need to qualify them without sounding as if you have a script. So once the conversation is rolling, ask a few natural questions, no robotic questions, natural questions. So for example, it could be, oh, so are you following a plan or kind of doing your own thing? Okay, so if they answer to you, you can say, oh, so what's the goal for you right now? So you make a diagnosis here to know what the goal is, and then you will see the blockage they have so that you can address that blockage with your program, and then you can book a call with them, right? So here, what I do with this system is that I'm trying to figure out two things. First of all, do they really actually need help? And second, are they willing to do something about it? So if they have a problem and they realize that they need help and they are really willing to do something about it, if the reason is yes, if the answer is yes, we'll go to the next step, which is the nurturing part. But if the answer is not, do not push it. Just leave it there. And this is really important. This is where most people lose their time. So it will bring us to the next step, which is nurturing, right? We'll use blue, which is nurturing. So most people really miss this part. As I told you, in the funnel, they go straight from the top directly to the bottom, right? But they miss the most important thing, which is nurturing, right? This is nurturing. So here's the thing. Not everyone will be ready to book with you right now. So that doesn't mean they are a no. That means that they need to be nurtured, because as I told you before the video, they are right now we are in the lack of we are in an era where there's a lot of lack of attention and trust. So I keep them warm. So I reply to their stories. So the stories of your potential customer, I go to their profile and I reply to their stories manually. By the way, I don't do this, right? My setter does this process, but if you have a setter, your setter can use this SOP, or maybe you, of course, I'm not doing it. So I spend my time with my clients. I don't spend the time getting the money from them. So that's why you need to have a system that works for you. So you can just hire a setter that will not charge you money up front. They will only charge you money once they close the sale. This is really important with the setter and the close. So the setter replies to the story manually. They do a check-in after a few days, and sometimes they send a voice message to say something like, hey, I was thinking about what you told me the other day, if they don't respond, and here's something that might help. So they are not pitching, they just offering value there. And then once you do the nurturing really well, we go to step number 5, which is ultimately to invite them to a call. So if someone is clearly stuck and they want help from you, and I know I can help them, me, or just my setter in this case, says, okay, so I've helped a few people in the same situation, so do you want to jump in a call and I'll show you how we approach it? So no big pitching, just telling them that you have the answer, that you have the way to really solve their problem that they said that they are really willing to solve. So then you just go to the call, and the call is just really simple. Go over what position they're at, explain how you will help, and if they are fit, make the offer and just sell. If they join and if they pay, right? If you are in the good part and they pay you the amount of money that you deserve, they just join and I onboard them. Not me, but my virtual assistant onboards them with a simple Notion setup. You can have whatever software you use, but I use Notion. And if you want to really go deep into more detailed part of this silent funnel, you can just go to a video I have on my channel explaining exactly how to get 5 clients per week. So you can just go and search in the channel, and I explain everything here. So what's the daily workflow of the setter? So the setter, my setter at least, spends 3 hours a day, right? Starting conversations from new posts that I post on the stories, comments, or reaction. Then he spends 2 hours a day following up with warm leads, and he spends 1 hour a day sending value, voice notes, maybe sometimes we use memes to just create that relationship and that trust, and also personal follow-ups. And if the potential customer is already too cold, we just use what is really important, we just use long-form content, right? Long-form content, for example, YouTube content, to nurture that client so that in the last part of the cycle, they can become my client, right? So once we have all this set, we'll go to the weekly metrics that really matter. I don't know if you are spending money in ads, but if you are spending money in ads, to have these metrics on track is really important, right? So the metrics I analyze is the following, right? I analyze the calls booked, the show up rate, the close rate, the client lifetime value, and the customer acquisition cost. The calls booked is how many calls I book, me or my setter, right? The show up rate is how many people attend to the call. Close rate is how many people from those people that attend end up buying. The client lifetime value is the amount of money that the client leaves in my business, right? And the customer acquisition cost is how much money I need to pay in order to get a client. So the targets could be something like this. This is the targets I have in my business, but it could be different for you. Not in my business, but in the coaching business I help, right? So here the target could be calls booked, maybe 10 a week. Show up rate, it needs to be up to more than 75, right? The close rate, 3 to 50 is okay. And the client lifetime value, it will depend, right? But for example, in my case, I have a lifetime value around 2 to 5K, right? It's more in the higher side, but 2 to 5K. And the customer acquisition cost every single time needs to be less than 300 euros because I mostly charge in euros. But to be honest, I have the medium customer acquisition cost I have right now is 120, which could seem like a lot, but if I have a lifetime value that is at least 3.5 and I have 120, I'm doing like a 20x ROAS. So that's why it doesn't matter. So the notes, you can use these notes in every single metric and target that you are targeting, right? So the redundance. So if one of these metrics drop, fix only that exact metric. This is where most of the coaches really fail. Fix only that metric, not the whole funnel, just that metric, right? So if you want to know when to use ads, because maybe you are here, we are 12 minutes and 17 seconds. So if you want to know when to use ads and when to not, don't use ads. It's really important. Do not use ads if you are not doing things the good way organically, and use ads only if your funnel already works organically. I will use an example that I explained this example in a video you can see before in the channel, where we spent 400 euros and we closed 7.5K. This was in 2 weeks, and I explained this in another video on the channel. So why did it work? It worked because the backend did all the work. So it was already working organic. So you can just use ads to leverage something that doesn't already work. You need to have something working organic so that then you can use ads to leverage that. So that's really important. If you need to have a structure for ads, it's going to be the following. First, speak to your avatar directly. Then call out their pain, show a real transformation, for example, a before and after. Then do a CTA of following or watch content. If you want to know exactly how to make ads, I have also videos in the channel saying exactly how to do all this process well, right? And then last but not least, add social proof, testimonial, screenshots, DMs. But don't scale, as I told you, don't scale something that doesn't really work yet, right? So all in all, how does this system really work? So as you see in this system I show you, right? The content brings people in, then the setter qualifies and warm up leads, the closers the closer you have handles the sales, and the delivery runs. This is really important. Without you hustling all the time. So what you should build right now, we are how many minutes? We are 14 minutes. So you are way ahead of the rest of the people because this is a really boring video, but really useful if you apply this. So the workflow, what you should build right now is have a preset DM workflow SOP, like a operating system with your setter, then have a Calendly booking process, have emotional connection, you or your closer in the calls, and have onboarding inside Notion. And those templates needs to be ready to deliver and do the fulfillment well, so that your lifetime value, so the amount of money that your potential customer or your customer now spends in your business, can be the highest, right? So that's it. Less than 15 minutes for this video. I hope this you found this helpful. As always, if you want help from me, you will find out where to get it somewhere there. I'm not gonna just use the CTA, but I'm sure that YouTube show you a recommended video right now here in the right side of the screen. So make sure you watch it, because I'm sure it's gonna be useful for you. So without further ado, let's see you in the next video. Bye bye.